So it's been a while since I've done a YouTube video. So what better way for me to come back to YouTube than do a YouTube video on Ember Moon. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about, if you didn't read the title, why Ember Moon was not booked as a megastar compared to other women in WWE. So if you watch WWE in NXT Black and Gold, on Raw in 2018, you should know who Ember Moon is, or at least be familiar with her name and or ring work. And if you are familiar with her ring work and her name, and if you're a former fan or you're still a fan, whatever the case may be, wherever you lay as far as what Ember Moon is to you, or Athena, as that's her analysis now, you know that Ember Moon was one of the best women's wrestlers WWE had signed when you're talking about ring ability. Ember Moon had one of the best movesets I have ever seen, male or female. She still, to this day, in my opinion, has the best female finisher out of any WWE women's wrestler, past, present, and future. The Eclipse will forever go down as one of the most unique, one of the best, if not the most unique and the best finisher that's not a submission in WWE. Now, Ember, she had, as talented as she was in the ring, she had the skill, the talent, the athleticism, the strength. As talented as she was when it came to ring ability, she lacked a lot on one department, and that department was character. Now, I know a lot of y'all about to come and jump in the comments. She had a character. She had a character. She was the Sheenom. She was the war goddess, and I understand. She technically did have a character. You're right. But just because you have a character does not necessarily mean you deserve to be pushed. I'm sorry, I had to say it. A lot of fans, a lot of wrestling fans, a lot of diva stans in particular, love preaching about how a woman needs a character to succeed. But what a lot of y'all forget is that the character has to actually be convincing, appealing, interesting, and championship material. And character, as far as a wrestler is concerned, it doesn't just rely on the wrestler, but it also relies on how the character is booked by the creative team. Well, the creative team, they didn't book Ember's character good. But that's because Ember's character was confusing. It was complex. It was all over the place. Nobody really understood what the Sheenom was, or what the war goddess was. Like, what does that mean? What is a war goddess? What is a Sheenom? And why should the war goddess and Sheenom be the champion for our company? So if you hear war goddess and you hear war, the first thing with war is fighting, battle, blood, guns, shooting everywhere, all that stuff. And a goddess is basically an entity. And so what I feel like the war goddess was, I feel like that kind of explains her like ring skill, because like, oh, I'm the war goddess, like I'm really good at wrestling, like I'm good in war, I do really good in war, or whatever that means, like stuff like that. And that is proven to be true, because as a wrestler, and like I said before, Ember Moon had a really good moveset. She had high flying, striking, a little bit of powerhouse, and I forgot what I was about to say. It was something else. I forgot what I was going to say. But she had different styles in her wrestling style. So I guess that's what the war goddess meant. The Sheenom, on the other hand, it kind of felt more like an aesthetic than an actual gimmick. She had the look down with the Sheenom. It's like, I understand. Like, from first glance, I understand what you're trying to pull off. But at the same time, I don't care what you're trying to pull off. You know what I mean? Like with The Undertaker as the Phenom, he didn't just rely on his image. He used the Phenom in his wrestling, in his taunts, in his intro. Everything was Fiend. Like, you knew who the Undertaker was. The Fiend. He used it in his segments. The character, the Fiend, he explained it well in his segments. He broke it down, added layers. He added it well with his wrestling, his storytelling, his taunts, his entrance, all that stuff. With Ember Moon, the only thing that she had as far as the Sheenom, all she had was a cool little look. It's like, oh, you look cool. But why should we push you? Why should you be champion? There was nothing appealing outside of wrestling. There was nothing appealing about Ember Moon being the Sheenom. Okay, you have some cool colors in your hair. I see the eye contacts. I see the wrestling. I see it. I see the melanin. But aside from that, what do you have that is going to make somebody care about you being the champion outside of your wrestling. Because some people, they don't watch WWE purely for wrestling. Some people watch WWE simply for the entertainment, for the segments, for the drama, for the fights, the brawls, the build-ups. They could care less about the matches. Some people watch it for both. And with Ember, I just feel like if she were to be a champion right now, I wouldn't have minded if she had became SmackDown Women's Champion, like she defeated Bayley in 2019, only because she was displaying more like heel tactics and heel ways in her character or whatever. I wouldn't have minded that. But at the same time, I still feel like even if she was heel, I still feel like she would have presented something totally different than what she's saying. Like, she'll be like, I'm the Shenom, I'm the war goddess. And then her heel work is her trying to act like she's the Miz or something like that. And it's just like, you're saying you're the Shenom, but you're trying to act like the Miz. How does that work? Number two, I forgot to say this earlier. Her promo skills are terrible. They're terrible. Her promo skills are terrible. Ember tries so hard to sound like something that she's not, and it comes off as cringe, it comes off as corny and annoying. When she said, let me keep it 100, in that segment with Jade Cargill, when the Tony interviewer was interviewing her, I cringed so hard. Ember, I understand that, you know, with black wrestlers, they feel like the creative teams and the companies feel like we have to talk with extra slang just to prove that we're black. But that's not true at all. And Ember, if you know that you don't talk with slang on the regular, you talk the way you do that. When Ember does cut a good promo, it's because she's speaking from the heart and she adds passion behind it, and she doesn't use slang. She doesn't use, you know, AAVE, and there's nothing wrong with that. If that's what works for you, then you do that. Like that segment she did with Jade Cargill in that face-to-face interview with Mark Henry, that was a good promo. It sounded natural, straight from the heart. It sounded pure. It sounded genuine. It sounded like, you know, this is me. Like, this is my character. But when she started saying stuff like 100 and trying to talk, you know, like she from the hood, it's like, girl, stop. It's embarrassing for you. It's embarrassing for me. It's embarrassing for our community. We already don't have that much diversity in our wrestling world as it is right now. We don't need you embarrassing us when we barely have that diversity. I'm sorry, I hate to say it, but it's true. If you know that you can't sound natural using slang or AAVE, then you don't need to use it. Just stick with what's good for you. So this video is a little bit shorter than I expected, but that's all I really have to say about Ember Moon. I just don't think she was underrated, but underrated to an extent. I feel like if she were to, you know, if she had worked on her character a little bit more, added more layers and you know, just did more with her character just to make it interesting, I feel like she would have been more than what she was. But that's all I have to say about Ember Moon. I hope you guys like this video. Like, comment, share, subscribe, promote black businesses, help black businesses, promote black businesses, and of course, like I said before, subscribe. Thank you, and I will see y'all in the next video.